We are looking at the topic purpose of parenting. Seems very obvious, right? I mean, we want our children to be the best possible human beings, better than us. And we try and get all the resources, um, all the possible situations come together and experiences gathered so the child can become an independent, beautiful, respecting being of the society. Right? Many of us, all of us have this objective for our children. And now we also see the reality that not all of them may be getting to that. Though every parent has this objective of their child being this beautiful human being, somewhere there is a gap where um, all children may not be able to achieve that. Now, where is that gap? Then, what is my purpose of parenting changing? Is my objective getting diluted somewhere? Am I misled somewhere? Now, somewhere I think Abdul Kalam said, parenting as nation building. Having that highest goal, maybe as a humanity building, someone who leads this entire humanity. I remember this story. I think it was with Swami Vivekananda, and he said he wants to be a horse cart rider. The Tanga chalane wala, and his mother, she had this picture of Krishna, driving the chariot of Arjuna during the Mahabharata war on their wall, and she looked at the child, and she looked at the picture, pointed to the picture, and said, "If you want to be a charioteer, be like Krishna." I mean, that's the highest level of an objective that I can sow in the child's mind as a seed. Now, if I want to become like Krishna, then what should I gather? As a parent, what should I be doing? As a child, what are the aspirations? When the child holds somebody highest as their role model to become, it is just not the material position. It is just not taking care of my family. It is just not taking care of my society. Not just my country, but environment, this whole, the whole universe. Somewhere I'm responsible for this bigger picture. And we may never know how to do it. But holding that goal, if that is nurtured in my family, including for me, I mean, if my talks on daily basis are how can I help my neighbor come out of this, my maid come out of this. I mean, this is something I learned. I think this is in Jewish culture. There's a word for it, I forget. But the children are taught not just to appreciate or congratulate somebody on their success. Great, you got a first rank. Not just that. They are taught to go one step beyond as to how can I support this child, understand all the subjects. Maybe let's say he got first rank, 100% in 3 subjects and less than 100% in 3 other subjects. Now when I congratulate the child, I am also thinking how can I help the child get 100 in the remaining of the 3 subjects. Not just my own child, anybody. So if someone gets a promotion, then the society thanks him Congratulates him. Not only that, thinks about how can he better prepare to get the next promotion or do very well in the new position. So that is what is cultured in families, in schools. So everybody is thinking one step ahead for every other person. Now imagine how the environment there could be. Not of jealousy, not of comparison, but everyone trying to support everybody else. This I need to culture in my family. I need to practice it because children are learning through imitation. Children are definitely curious, so I need to protect their curiosity. Why should I help the other person become better? Children would not even ask that. They will just take it. Yeah, my parents are doing, I am doing. And if they have some bitter experience, my parents are doing, but I'm not going to do. Now be curious about why is the child stuck on doing something else. Maybe they have a very good reason. Maybe I have blind spots that I'm unable to see, which, if I allow to, my children will definitely tell me. So, somewhere, the purpose of childhood is just not to raise successful children, successful in the sense, materially successful, um, position wise, getting top position. Even in schools and getting the first rank, getting that prize, getting all the prizes. Is it just that, or am I sowing a seed for a long term benefit? That seed may not even sprout in the next 5 to 10 years. And it may begin sprouting in 10 years, but only bear flowers and fruits 30, 40, 50 years from now. Am I doing something like that? Is that the purpose of parenting? I would like you to ponder upon it. I'm no authority in trying to tell do this or don't do that. We are all exploring this together. Go back and think about your own childhood. Did your parents or grandparents sow something in you that you need to become, or you need to serve, or you need to be there for nation, for society, for community in some way? Did they tell you stories like that? Did they share stories of the family members who were like that? Was there discussion of service and gratitude and responsibility at home and extended home? So go back and check what influenced you to become whoever you are today. It could be both ways. Sometimes we are, for whatever reason, for coping mechanisms or whatever, we tend to go off the path. We know the examples of Gandhiji. He went on to do so many things, but he somehow strongly believed that schooling was not, or sending to school and getting educated in a school was not that great priority. So he didn't send his children to school, and out of 4 children, at least one of them was definitely not for his father's decisions and the way he did what he did. It happens. But am I constantly aware? Am I constantly course correcting my own parenting style? Or am I stuck with what I believe is right? And this is like, it's beautiful to have like 3 generations together, at least 3 generations. My parents, me, and my children. So me in the middle, I can always look at my own childhood, how my parents did, and then look at my children and see what am I doing here? What is it that I want to do better? What is it that I want to drop or adopt from the way I was parented? And question it. It's parenting is fun, but it's not easy, or it's not like one quick solution or one size fits all. So somewhere, if I can encourage my child to just wonder about things, to question about things, to explore on their own, to explore with us, to create that environment where the children become thinking human beings. I mean, they're already that, but somewhere we want them to be also obedient. So the minute I want obedient children who will listen to me, who will do the right things, who will be praised by others, then somewhere what they think is being suppressed. I would really like to run the fan on fifth speed because I want air, I don't feel it. But then my grandmother is sleeping around here. She doesn't like fan turned on at all. At the most, she can bear fan on one. Now, how does the child respond to it? Can he say what he wants to say and maybe excuse himself, go into another room, or give grandmother the blanket so she doesn't get affected by it, or just blame and not want grandmother to come home? All of us respond in different way. All of them is right, but important thing is to go through it and talk about it. And now it's also the responsibility of the grandmother. I'm not saying it's only the child, but now I cannot control someone else. I can only manage or work on myself. I can only help myself. So we come back to me. What kind of an environment I'm creating for my child at home. It is not just about the fan. It is not just about having grandparents. What kind of people, what kind of celebrations am I attending, events am I attending? I used to always wonder, I still wonder about it. There are some people, um, especially the influential families, community oriented families, so many great people come into their homes and they're sitting and talking, discussing, debating, and children are just around there helping with water or whatever people need. But the conversations are something that children are listening to also. And I just wondered why did some such great people did not ever come to my house growing up, and even now, no such great person comes over to my house. And that's my circle of influence, that's my network. And yes, there could be some a great scientist who comes over, a great achiever who comes over, a great musician who comes over, etc., famous or highly accomplished. But even with people around, I can see greatness. Genius people are around who can cook beautifully, who can sew, who can knit, who can sing. So that environment, the intellectual environment that I'm creating, I could do it. My mentor, maybe a few of you have heard about him, Dr. Karajki. He used to say that every family must together read some great book every single day. It's like a daily ritual. And he has read enough number of books with his children when they were growing up. Now he's doing that with his grandchildren. And if you happen to see any of his videos, there are plenty of them on YouTube. And that's one thing he recommends: create that intellectual environment in your home. Of course, there is gratitude and there is responsibility, there is love, all of that. But at least children, when they're 7, 8 years old, if you start reading a book together, something of, you could also read fictions to begin with at bedtime, story time, all that is another, the objective there would be to build the vocabulary or to engage the child, whatever. But now here you pick some book, some scripture, that's like a little hard to digest even for me. But then we read it, that's for sowing the seeds. Where child 20 years from now, if they are distracted, if they stray away from the mainstream, they have some foundation to come back to. It's like a home. I go out anywhere, but then I come back home sometime to feel that peace. So these books, the content of these books will help build that support system for the child, because they have these hidden gems. You can memorize some of the shlokas, some of the dohas, some subhashitani, where there is this hidden knowledge in it. And then and when you're discussing with children, you just say, I don't even know, I'm exploring too, but let's do it together. So, creating that intellectual environment where you may invite people of like mindedness, they may come. I have a cousin who is like a social activist and he is connected with so many people. He can just do the work outside of the home too. But he makes it a point to invite these people home. It is a lot of work, preparing for them. They come with 10 other people with them, offering them breakfast, tea, arrangements to sleep and things like that. But he does it with great joy. And his wife is there, his mother is there, his children are there. And obviously, there is an environment. If something I, as a parent, I'm not able to do, children have other role models that they can look up to, they can reach out to, they can connect with later on, because the environment shapes the child. And I'm trying to create that environment. It's called epigenetics. I mean, genetics is somewhere where I inherit from my parents, but epigenetics is where the environments create the character in me. And that should be the purpose of parenting, because I know I am not complete, I am not perfect, I don't know everything. I got to reach out, and reach out not only when I need, when I have a question, I like go to a counselor, get an answer, come back and try to implement it. Counselor is giving a solution based on 20, 30, 40 years of their experience. But if I bring back that solution and implement only the solution, it would not be as effective as me having that kind of an experience, or having that kind of a person in my family where the child is exposed to on regular basis. Because we somehow say every child is talent. Maybe one is in math, another one is music, another one is cooking. I mean, each one of them, if they develop it, they can do manage their living. I mean, the materialistic success is one aspect of this holistic human being. That's not the only thing to measure the success of the child. Could that be purpose of parenting? Are we discovering this child? Are we allowing the child to be, and through what they do, find out what the child is? Or are we providing enough and imposing on the child to achieve something? Despite creating the intellectual environment, despite choosing a book to read because I know what is better or somebody told me this is good for you, can I also have children choose their books? Can I also read that as a family together? Are some of the things that you should ponder upon. Because children are looking up to someone who can guide them, who can support them, who can show them the way. It doesn't mean they have walked it or not, but at least say, okay, going this path, you have this kind of problems and successes. Going the other path, it's another story. And every path has its own story. So, and I probably know two stories based on my own experience, maybe four stories, based on my parents' experience, my experience, or whatever. But then when I have people around, when I read biographies of people, when I read great books, then multitude options open up. Could that be the purpose of my parenting? apart from character formation. Definitely, children needs to feel that freedom, creating that freedom, being worthy of imitation, practicing certain things, creating environment where the child can achieve their highest potential, their highest capability. So is that my purpose? So this is something to ponder upon. Look at your own thing, look at your own childhood, look at some of the stories, biographies of some person who has made it in your life despite the difficulties. One simple thing. I know a family where father was a drunkard, alcoholic, did not earn much, whatever he earned, used up for his alcoholism. Wife worked really, really, really hard for years on end. And now, no matter what the mother says, children won't give up on her because they have seen her struggle for their benefit. She is their role model. I mean, nobody would ever know except a few family members. But that's what it is. So when we look out, let's not look at people on pedestals. It is not to manufacture success. It is to nurture this child who is free, who has this inner freedom, authenticity, who can be responsible, somewhere awaken to be the best version of themselves. And ponder upon it and see what comes to you. Thank you very much.